The Sopranos, debt collected. It was Sunday, and Anthony Soprano was in the Catholic church because he was Catholic and he was praying to the gods.
Dear gods, I am good Catholic, so please make Philip Leotardo to pay his debts, or I will have to collect debts by force the hard way. Yours sincerely, Anton Soprano.
Silvio and Christopher was beside him, and both said him,
"Gods will not answer to prayers, Anthony. We will collect the debts for you."
"No, this is thing I have to do myself," Anthony said very seriously as he removed hands from his calves to finish prayers and said, "After all, this is business and not friends." Anthony drank communion wafers and eated bloods of justice and got Christopher to pay the bills. Christopher was very cross by saying,
"Oh, why am I always paying bill?"
So, 4 hours after that, Anthony was driving in his car looking for Philip Leotardo to collect the debts.
"Where is he?"
Anthony asked himself. But then he looked with his eyes outside of the town and saw Philip was standing at the top of New Jersey Mountain on a high cliff.
"Ah, perfect,"
he says, and Anthony drove his car up the mountain and in front of Philip.
Going somewhere, Philip?
Anthony said menacingly while shutting the door of his car and walking towards Philip, who was very surprised and backing up to the cliff edge.
Lovely weather,
said Anthony for small talk.
"Yes, I agree, Anthony. The weather is lovely."
These words were Philip's, but he was very nervous.
"Enough with the chit-chat, Philip. You were supposed to pay me before now, and you didn't. Where's my money?" "Come on, Anthony, we is friends. Let's be reasonable."
Philip tried to please.
"Don't make talk like that with me."
Anthony rebuked the advances.
"This is business and not friends."
I say it again. Where's the money?
"It doesn't exist,"
Philip said, thinking being honest would save the life. Unfortunately, it wasn't going to. Anthony shouted in rage,
"Then that's not the only thing that doesn't exist, because the other thing that doesn't exist is about to be you!"
And Anthony used violence to kick Philip off of the cliff. Philip fell down to his dead.
"I'm died, but revenge!"
shouted Philip, and he became a ghost.
Wah! I don't believe in ghosts, so can't be ghost!
Anthony hoped that the thing he said would make Philip stop being a ghost, but Philip still continued to be a ghost and floated in front of him and said,
"Ghost or no ghost, I am ghost, so now I will revenge my powers of ghost!"
Things looked hopeless for Anthony because even though he was big and powerful, he could not defeat Ghost. Philip was preparing the ghost ball, and Anthony was preparing for worst. But just then, Silvio appeared with Ghost rocket launcher and shout,
"Just when I thought was out, they push me back down,"
and shoot the ghost rockets at Ghost Philip, which unghosted him. Anthony recovered sense and with happiness told Silvio,
"Quality performance, Silvio. This decides me that I will no longer kill you."
"I was not know that you would be killing me,"
said Silvio.
"That is not very nice."
"This is business and not friends, Silvio. And besides it, you have no reason for complaint, because like I just said, I will not kill you."
With that, Anthony walked over to inspect wreckage of Ghost.
"No, Anthony!"
Silvio snapped.
"Our true enemy has yet revealed himself."
Anthony turned around confused.
"Stop misquoting movie,"
he said, but then Silvio was right because the Ghost Philip was now Black Hole Philip.
"Philip has turned into the black hole!"
Silvio shouted and pointed to beyond the cliff so that Anthony could see clearly the black hole that was there.
"Then I'll use black hole gravity to revenge!"
Philip shouted pleasedly and began preparing the black hole charge. Anthony cowered in fear.
"I hate science,"
he said.
"It's okay, T. I come prepared. Arrive, Dursey!"
And with that words, Silvio heroically throwed himself at the black hole and was sucked into the black hole instead of Anthony.
"No! That was meant for Anthony!"
Philip screamed angrily.
"Now I've lost my black hole power!"
And it was right because he was then dead for good.
No more Philip, and no more Silvio. Well, I was gonna kill him anyway, despite telling him I would not kill him, because this is business and not friends,
said Anthony.
"What you say?"
Voice of Silvio roared, and it was now Ghost Silvio. Anthony whistled and rolled eyes, saying,
"Nothing."
"Lies, I heard what you said. I'll make you dead instead."
"Oh, my big mouth!"
Anthony wailed. He went to hands and knees and was afraid of being ghosted. But then, from out the blue, drugs was thrown at Ghost Silvio, and they were ghost drugs, so it made him drugged and not thinking rationally. The thrower of drugs was Christopher, who explained he got the ghost drugs in case his drug addiction killed him and turned him into a ghost who could only take ghost drugs.
"Nice, Christopher!"
exclaimed Anthony.
"Why is Ghost Silvio trying to kill you?"
Christopher asked.
"Are you questioning my leadership?"
Anthony balked and tried to intimidate. Christopher stood up to the challenges by saying,
"And so what if I am?"
Anthony pulled out the gun.
"Then I am have to kill you!"
But then Anthony thought and realized the lesson that Christopher might turn into a ghost and kill him with ghosting. So he put back the gun and said,
"But that was a funny joke."
"Sure was funny, Anthony," said Christopher. And Christopher laughed as the two walked towards the car to drive home. But little did heroes know that Ghost Silvio had already recovered from ghost drugs and was about to use electricity to kill Anthony. When he prepared to launch the electricness, Polly jumped down from the sky while saying,
"Hey Silvio, you're messing with the boss here. You can't do that."
Anthony and Christopher turned around as Polly landed on the cliff. Silvio was enraged and said,
"You don't know nothing, Paulie. Anthony was going to kill me."
Polly said,
"No, Anthony is a good friend, and he would never kill friends,"
said Polly. Anthony was touched in heart by Polly's trust words, even though he had also planning to kill Polly. Polly continued speakage.
"Now look at this little babies,"
he revealed, carrying a ghost capture vacuum cleaner.
"Oh no! No, please don't!"
shouted Silvio.
"Oh really?"
Polly says.
"Hey, why are you so scared? You'd think you'd seen a ghost."
Polly turned to Anthony and Christopher. He said,
"Hey Anthony, do you hear what I just said? I said, hey, why are you so scared? You'd think you'd seen a ghost."
"Yeah, it's very funny, Polly," groaning Anthony. Polly then blasted Silvio and he deaded for good.
"That's that,"
said Polly. Polly then said,
"Hey Anthony, you said you had something to give me, so give me it now."
But the thing Anthony had was going to give Polly was kill him, but Anthony looked at Polly and at Christopher and smiled and was saying,
"I changed the mind. I am not giving it to you anymore."
"Oh! Disappointed," said Polly. The three laughed and got in the car and drove back home. When Anthony got at home, he began writing his friendship lesson letter to the gods.
"Dear gods, today I learned that even though it is business and not friends, you should still not kill friends because of business, because it is not the right thing, and they might return as ghosts or even worse, black hole for revenge. Yours faithfully, Anthony Soprano."
And he had his wife deliver the letter, and they all lived happily ever after. The end.
Oh!